Good afternoon. Welcome to the Returning Drafter channel. This is our first episode in our AutoCAD architecture training series. And this is where we will be learning from scratch what we can do with AutoCAD, right? So today, no drawing at all. We'll just be looking at the interface itself, where what is and where we can find it. We're looking at the 5 zones, which will be the ribbons, canvas, palettes, the status bar, as well as a command line, the ribbon, the design tab. Now, this is actual distinction between AutoCAD and AutoCAD architecture, as the normal AutoCAD does not have the the ability to add walls and windows and things like that. Um, Canvas, obviously this is where the magic happens, where what you create comes to life, and then you get the properties that goes along with it that you can use to edit what you're creating, right? Then we'll look at the status bar. Status bar is just what you use to better execute what you're trying to create. And then the command line is the actual actions you take to create it. It's a guided action. I'll show you guys when we get there. But that is actually um, what the command line does. Right? And then we'll just create a drawing, set up some settings to make sure that we're ready for our first actual drawing. Cool. Let's get drafting. So this is Auto. Um, I'll be using 2021. Now, obviously, you can use whatever version you want. There is ways of getting a free trial. Um, I think it's a 30-day trial. There's also education version that you can use, but that's all up to you. I think the price at the moment for AutoCAD 2027 is 240 odd dollars, something around there. But obviously, it's up to you what you want to do, right? So when you open it up, this is what you'll get, right? Um, this will obviously change how the longer you use AutoCAD, this will change. And you can also, based on your settings, customize this a bit. So for now, we're just going to create a new drawing. Um, and this is how it will look when you open up a new drawing. Now, it might look a bit different to you. Um, you might have, I think, this and that, and another one open here as well. But now we don't need that. You can just close that. We'll touch on that as we go. I just want a clear interface. It doesn't distract us from what we're trying to achieve, right? So first of all, we're going to look at the ribbon. Now this is the ribbon. Now the ribbon has different tabs that you can navigate through, but we're going to start at home. And under the home tab, you have panels. So you have the build panel, draw panel, modify panel, and so on, so forth. Um, and each of these items that's in here is the actual action, right? It's an action or a setting panel. So if you click on something, it either you can create something or it'll pop up settings for that action that you're trying to create, right? So in the build panel, you can draw walls, doors, windows, roof slabs, all of that fun stuff you will find under the build tab. You can also create stairs. You can just draw a box or a cylinder or whatever you want under here. Now this is more architectural incentives or direction that you can find in here. Then you get the draw tab. This is when you want to create something or edit something, and you use these features to actually create that object or plan or whatever you're busy creating. Now you can draw different types of lines. You get normal line, polyline, a construction line, in or SP line, array, 3D poly. The same goes for arcs. You can create multiple points, circles, rectangles, hatches, arcs, sorry, ellipses. Uh, there's quite a bit of options there. Now we get to modify. Now modify, uh, there's quite a few options in here as well. Match properties is one that you'll use quite often. So if you have a line that already has properties set to it, for example, color, line width, line style, um, a layer, for example, you copy that properties of that line to a new line to make it the same, right? So you match the properties of that line. Then you can obviously move a object, you can erase an object, you can explode an object. Now, what does explode do? Explode, if you have a one solid object, you can explode that object so that it's individual lines that makes up one object, right? Offset, you can, if you have a line, you can offset that line by 5 millimeters, then it just creates a line parallel to that. So a certain distance away from the original line. You can obviously get copy. You have rotate. Trim. Trim is where you have a line and it's cutting through something. And then you can just uh, trim off that excess line from the one end. Now with that, you can also get extend. Same concept. If you have a line, but it doesn't fully touch a certain point, you can extend that line to, for example, to the door, and then it's one solid line with no gaps to the door, right? Bring to front, there's quite a few options here. Send to back, bring above objects. This is obviously just how you want to view the object that you're busy with. View, now view, this view is the same as this little toggle here, where you can view what you're busy with, either 2D, 3D, top view, left, whichever one you prefer. For example, if you, it's 3D, there you can see Y, Z, X, and here, just click on that. Now I'm on the top view, same thing. And you can also obviously change that settings there. Uh, this is just to zoom. Extend is if you uh, working somewhere, you just want to view the full picture, you just extend it and it zooms out to see everything in your window. This portion over here, layers, you will be working quite a lot with that. Um, Layers is what you use to organize your drawing. For example, you put your walls in one layer, your windows in one layer, and if you only want to view the doors, you turn off your windows and you only see the doors. Um, and it just organizes the drawing in a way that makes it more manageable, right? Because you can't have your electrical, your plumbing, your building, your site, the trees outside, all of that in one drawing. So you put it on different layers so you can view what you want to focus on at that moment, right? So here you'll get your layer manager. Oh, apologies. It's opened on my second screen. So this is how it looks, and yeah, you can obviously turn off what you want to turn off, freeze it. Um, you can change whatever you want, create new ones. Uh, excuse me, this is where you'll create a new one, and we'll get into more detail as we have more examples later on through the course. Annotations, this is where you put dimensions to what you're busy building. For example, if you have a floor plan, you put a dimension on the side to say what's the distance from the wall to the other wall. Put in some um, comments, multi-leaders. There's your dimensions. You can put in text, which will just better explain to the person that's reading the plans what you're actually doing or what you intend to do. This is utilities. Obviously, you measure the distance, the radius, the angle, area, volume, whatever that is. And here you just have some quick calculators. You can calculate the area as well. Quick select and select all. And this section over here is where you get your section and elevation options, where you can create a section of a building or a elevation. Um, and this is what you will use to create that. And then that is just the details component window. So it's just a little pop-up. Oh, sorry, it opened up on a different monitor. Okay, but we'll get into all of this. This is where you can get details. Now, details is what you'll use on your drawings. So this is a detail of a certain section on your drawing. This is pre-built. Uh, let's call it templates. For example, let's go to masonry and you want a brick wall, 2 core bricks. That's how the brick will look. That's how the cavity wall looks. Support beam. So there's quite a lot of options in there. Now that can also be customized, FYI. Next, let's look at insert. Now this is obviously what you use from an external point as a reference. Here you can import images, PDFs, or whatever you want. Um, for example, the architect will give you um, a drawing that's already been printed. They don't have a digital form. And you can import that. You scale it to whatever scale it is, and then you use that as a reference to draw on. Um, that's one of the common ways that references get used. Now obviously, a lot of this stuff is more advanced. We're not going to be looking at that, but it's nice to know where it is. You can also create a reference. Sorry, a block. A block is just um, something that you use throughout the 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 project. So you create that block uh, of different objects. So if you have here, you can see in that illustration, there's the top side of the desk, the side, the back, and whatever it is, and all of them together make a block. Now you can use that, copy and paste that, and edit the block as a whole and not individual items. You can also insert the block. Now there is a library of them that you can use, obviously where you've saved them, but this is where you'll find that. Okay, annotate. Now this is just a more detailed uh, tab of the annotate over here, annotation, apologies. But it's the same thing where you put dimensions, different type of dimensions, different angles, different text, yes, single line text, multi-line text. So this is where you will get that scheduling. Uh, this is what you will use when you're busy with doors and windows. There's sections, callouts, for example. You put a callout on your floor plan to a certain section, and then you give the detail on a different plan, and this is what you'll use to do those callouts. Uh, yeah, rendering. Okay, we won't be using rendering in AutoCAD, but it's nice to know that we have that feature. Um, you can actually visualize what you're building within AutoCAD, right? Also have things like materials. So if you want to put bricks to your wall, different type of bricks or whatever it is, you can do that here. You can also create lighting, walkthroughs, flybys, things like that, where you actually visually see how it looks, right? But we won't be touching that in the series. Maybe in the next advanced series. I don't know. We'll see. View. This is obviously how you view your project. Uh, get to the steering wheel. I don't really use this, but you can zoom, center, walk, by pan, all that. But I don't use that. You can if you want. There's pen, obviously little hand that you can do it. You can also do it with a scroll wheel on your mouse. And then we spoke about extend, where you just zoom out to everything. Appearance, this is obviously just you can see a certain view of your object or your plan. Coordinates, this is where you manage where your object actually is. Now, if you're in manufacturing or something like that, it's not really important, but if you're in architecture, where you put something is very important, right? Because building on the wrong place can be very, very costly. Visual styles. Okay, so currently we're on a 2D wireframe. So just to show you how that looks, if we have a wall from there to there, and that, you go back to view. Currently it's 2D wireframe, but you can, let's just change contextual, conceptual, sorry, and then it'll be a solid wall, right? Then viewports. Viewports is what you use to visually display what you want to show, right? So you have a paper, excuse me, A3 paper, and on that A3 paper you have different viewports to show different aspects of your uh, drawing, right? And that will cover when we get, yeah, so this is a viewport and that is a viewport, right? So DWG compare, if you have two revisions um, and you've made changes on the one, you can actually use that to check what has been changed, so you're sure that you didn't miss anything, right? History, this is obviously just a history of the palette that allows access to previous versions of the drawing. So if you caught on something and you saved, but you did something wrong, you can just go to the history and open up that one. Now this is the palettes. This is all the settings that you will use while you're drawing. You get the tool palette. This is just a quick access to certain tools. Let me just make that bigger. I'm going to delete that. And I'm just gonna, let's say, use that. Obviously, that's a window. Now this is the properties panel. This properties panel is showing me what I've selected. So yeah, you can see it's walking me through select a wall. Okay, I don't have a wall at the moment, but I just wanted to show you guys this. And this is the properties that that specific uh, object has. So both is open. So I'm just gonna close that again. Close that again. Blocks we spoke about. And then sheet manager. This is just the sheets that you set up when you want to print, right? You can have different sheets set up. I1, I3, I0, whatever it is, and different settings for each of them, right? Okay. So this is just how you view your canvas. So you can do it horizontally, next to each other, whatever the case may be. But obviously, that is based on your preference. Command line is this little area down here. Now you can turn that off, but obviously I wouldn't recommend that. And then again, quick calculator, external reference palette. So what you can do with this is, apologies, it opened my other screen and the sheet manager opened there. So just close that. So what you can do with this is, instead of having 100 things on one drawing, you can have one master drawing and then have uh, different drawings connected to your master drawing and then just reference those items to that drawing, right? That just helps so that um, you don't use all the resources by opening up one drawing and then it takes an hour to open. But if you use the reference feature, then it will help with that. And this is just unnamed views. So if you're busy working on it, you won't save it, then it will be unsaved, but you can use a certain view, right? Next up, manage. So here, this is a bit more advanced, but a few key things to look at here would be record. So you can do an action and record it, and then only push a button and it'll action that specific rule for you. For example, if you're busy working on one project for the last year and you're tired of saving, control save at a different uh, place on a specific project and all those goodies, you can create a record, and then if you press it, then it will automatically do a set of actions for you, right? CAD standards, we'll touch on this on a later video, but this is just how or what you need to use to be consistent, right? You'll have set layers for certain thing. You'll have set rules, set colors, all of that. And this is what you use to check that. This again is just normal project standards. We'll get to that in the future video. Style and display manager. So style is just how you lines and stuff looks, and you can create certain standards for that if you want. This is how it will look, and then the materials that go with it. There's wall styles, standard wall style, the components that go into it. You can change that obviously. Apologies, opened up on my second screen. This is how the style manager looks, and you can obviously see and go through whatever you want to change, but there's already pre-built stuff in there for you. Okay, let's close that. uh, Load application. This is just where you, if you have pre or other applications that you use within AutoCAD, and then as soon as you open AutoCAD, it can load with AutoCAD. Script, obviously you can run scripts within AutoCAD, like batch scripts. Um, so obviously I have no scripts, but not batch scripts, just normal scripts. But you can obviously play with that. That's a bit more advanced. Something that I always used was purge. Now this removes unused names items such as blocks, definitions, and layers from the drawing. So what normally happens is you'll get a drawing, and it's just full of lines and layers and stuff that's not being used, and you need to now clean that up. So you clean it up, and then you use purge, and then it removes all the rest. This is also something to be very careful about, because if you there's important things that's not on a layer or has not been looked at yet, then it will delete that as well. Excuse me. Overkill, it just deletes everything that's overlapping. So if you have two lines that's on top of each other, it just deletes the one. And then audit is just to trying to check to see the integrity of the drawing. All right. Add-ins by App Manager, there's not something that we'll be covering, but you can, there's different apps and stuff that you can get from the store and use it within AutoCAD. Shared views. Obviously, if you three guys working on the same project, um, you can share what you're working on together, the views. Uh, Vision tools, this is not something that we'll be looking at, but you can use some calculation settings and surface materials in your own book. Featured apps, that's not something that we'll be looking at. And then this is obviously what you use just to crop and view the Revit. Uh, I like to use the full view, um, but in certain cases where I know a set set a list of tasks, then I don't need that. I'll just hide it so that I can get more drawing and more focus space. But yeah. Okay, next have a look at the quick access toolbar, which is up here, where you can create a new document, open up a new document, save as, save to mobile, or open a web in mobile, save to web in mobile. You can plot, um, and we'll get to each of those as we go through the series. Now with the application menu, which is the little Autodesk icon up here, it's similar settings to that. But the most important one here would be the drawing utilities, where you get your drawing properties and your drawing setup, which is two important options here, and then also options. Next up is, let me just close that. Excuse me. Next up, let's look at the command line. Now, the command line is something that um, gets used for the actions, right? So each action has a follow-up, right? And as soon as you click on that, it either closes or executes. For example, um, line, which is up here, right? So if you click that line, notice that it asks specify first point, right? Next action, specify your next point, and there's my next point. Now you can obviously continue with that, or just press space to end that, right? But now the same thing in the command bar, you can just type line and it'll give you a list of options. You'll get used to this. And just enter, same thing. Uh, enter. Oh, sorry, space to enter. Now, each action that you do does have a different flow of the commands or tasks that you need to do. So just be mindful of that. And if you don't know, just read the command clearly. Right? You can open up this and you can see exactly what was done. Okay. Status bar. Um, it's the bar down here. Now a lot of this is a bit advanced. First up, you'll see the coordinates. So if I move here, you'll see the coordinates change. And you can always toggle that on and off. That's on obviously now. You get model space and paper space. Model space is where you actually work in. Model space is this. You work over here, right? It's just a quick access to that, but stay in model space. Grid is the lines you see here in the background. You can turn that on and off. Snap is if you move this item somewhere, you can see that little green box that pops up. That's snap. So it's snapping to that. Right, so if I just have close to it and it highlights and I click and it snaps to that. Right. Okay. Ortho mode. Obviously, if you draw in ortho mode, it's 90 degrees, so you can set it actually. But ortho mode, it just works on a 90-degree. See that it snaps to 90 degrees. Okay, this is 3D now, so just be mindful of that. Then you get the cursor to specific angles, polar tracking. Here you can set this to where you want it to snap. I have 90 degrees, so if you move this, let's just turn ortho off. Let's say move from there, you can see that line, and then you can see that line. But if you, let's say 30 degrees, move it, you see that now it's only at 30 degrees. Line weights, obviously this you can toggle on and off. It shows the real value or the real view of how the um, line weight looks. But of course I like the thin view. The selection cycling, okay, not going to look at that. This is a rotation object. Okay, scale. This is where you set the scale of what you're doing. So if you're drawing on a scale of 1 to 100, um, this is where that will be, or scale of 1 to 1000. If it's a big building or area that you're working on, or if you're working on a mechanical part, 1 to 5, uh, whatever the case may be. But that's your preference. But in the project that I'll be doing, I'll be showing you guys what I do. Um, this is just display workspace labels, workspace settings. Um, this is also a bit advanced. We'll not be looking at that. And then the default cut plane height. So obviously when you work on a double story, there's automatic plane in the middle of the two floors, and the cut height is automatically set to 1400 millimeters, which is about 1.4 meters. But you can obviously change that based on your preference. If you're building a house that has high ceilings of 2 meters or whatever the case may be, that is where that'll be. If I said anything incorrectly, please correct me. Um, we'll be learning. Apologies, that opened up on the screen again. So that plane is at 1400. If I said anything wrong, or if you notice anything, please pop it in the comments. Let me know so that we can learn together. I'm still learning this with you, so please. For any help, obviously, if you need anything, for example, here I type line, press enter, it'll pop up a window where you can read anything about line, what type of lines, what other type of lines there is, and all of that. And now just not just for lines, you can do, I don't know, layers, and there it gives you everything about layers, right? Cool. I think that is it for this video. Um, I'm looking forward to our next one where we'll dive a bit deeper into the panels, actually do some examples, right? So if you found any value of what I presented to you today, please like, share, and comment. Um, oh, and subscribe, please. Um, yeah, as always, um, constructive criticism is welcomed. Um, we're all learning here, so if there's something I can learn from you, let me know. Okay, see you guys in the next video. Cheers.